Welcome back into Feathers and Field Goals here this week for Delaware football, getting set to take on the Colorado Buffaloes out in Big 12 country, we'll call it, out in Boulder. Delaware playing its first FBS opponent in its inaugural FBS season here. Delaware starting out 1-0 against Delaware State, and we now get a chance to learn more about Colorado with David Talks Buffs. It's David Neill of David Talks Buffs, the YouTube channel and multi-platform Colorado content creator, joining us now. David, hey, thank you so much for taking your time with, I guess, a fledgling FBS level program, as far as the podcast world even goes. Appreciate you being a part of it and helping us get a sense more of Colorado beyond just all the headlines that I guess we all see week in and week out with Coach Prime.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on, Daniel. You know, this is something that I've been looking forward to. Congratulations on making it to the FBS level. That's a huge deal, and quite a start to your season. If I remember correctly, you guys faced Deshaun Jackson last week, and so this week you got Coach Prime. How about that?
It is a heck of a back-to-back that's really been talked about a lot all offseason, that's for sure, is the way those two line up back-to-back. And maybe that's not such a good thing for Delaware in the sense that we know Deshaun Jackson and Coach Prime, they seem to be having a good relationship there. So D-Jax, I'm sure, can kind of pass along the extra tidbits of insight to Coach Prime. Not that Coach Prime will be needing any extra help, perhaps, but that could be a factor, too. So it is funny that they go back-to-back like that. But getting into Colorado and learning a bit more about Colorado's squad this year from afar, of course, all the conversation about seeing the NFL draft picks now on their way in the league. Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter won't be bringing the same star power for Delaware's visiting fans who are looking to see the whole atmosphere and everything that Deion Sanders brings, but still obviously so much talent on the field and the way it's kind of, I don't want to say been rebuilt, but help us understand what has the conversation been like over the offseason leading into this year in Boulder for the locals, folks who have been following this program for a long time and not just more recently with all the studs out there last season?
Yeah, it's definitely a changing of the guard, kind of a new era. Of course, this is the first time Coach Prime has been coaching a team where he doesn't have his sons on it. So it's a little bit different of a feel. But there's a lot to be excited about with this team. Yeah, we don't exactly have the star power that we've had the last couple of years. I think, though, we are a deeper team, especially when it comes to the trenches on the offensive and defensive line. But this definitely is a team right now that is looking to establish an identity on both offense and defense. A lot of new pieces, especially on offense with Caden Salter transferring in here from Liberty, and a rebuilt offensive line, an improved offensive line, definitely. But we still have a long ways to go, I think, in kind of figuring out who are going to be the leaders of this new era post Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter. How exactly are we going to play on offense? What's our brand of football? That was kind of a lot of our conversation post-game after Georgia Tech. We might have fallen into the Pat Shurmur special. It doesn't matter who we got behind center. Pat Shurmur loves to pass the ball. And I don't know if that's exactly geared towards the strengths of this team right now. So it's going to be interesting going up against Delaware, exactly what Colorado decides to do in terms of their prioritization of who they're going to get involved this Saturday.
You just alluded to it a little bit with the early impressions of a close loss to Georgia Tech on Friday night of week one, right there at Folsom in Boulder. Are there early reads on the strengths and weaknesses of this squad so far? I mean, it's such an easy thing to have the overreactions and maybe draw too many conclusions early on, but are there early indicators of what the strengths and weaknesses might be of this Colorado squad thus far?
This isn't like a shot at the offense or defense, but if there's one thing that I'm very, very happy with, it was our special teams performance against Georgia Tech. For the last couple of years, we have not been able to kick touchbacks consistently, and the return game from opponents has been something that has kept opponents in matchups with us throughout these games. So the fact that we kicked 100% kickoffs through the end zone, touchback last week, that was awesome. I want to see that continued against Delaware. Can we do it without the altitude? We'll have to see. But also our punter, Damon Greaves, who transferred in from Kansas, he was fantastic, had 3 punts last Friday within the 20, almost had a fourth down on the 2-yard line. So special teams, that's going to be something that I'm hoping can continue to be a positive aspect for us every week, no matter who the opponent is. Now, with particularly the offense, we do have true sophomore Micah Welsh kind of leading the backfield right now, number 29. He is somebody that needs more carries. He only had 11 against Georgia Tech. DeKalen Taylor is an FCS transfer from Incarnate Word out here in San Antonio, where I currently reside. So he had a nice touchdown catch, and he's a guy that can kind of take it to the house, whether it's out of the backfield or receiving a pass. He's just got a crazy amount of speed. So that's something that I would love for us to lean into, as well as hopefully having a game plan that gets our quarterback, Caden Salter, into a rhythm a little bit quicker in the game. I would argue that he didn't even get into a rhythm at all throughout that Georgia Tech game. So let's give him some easy pass concepts that get him a quick read, that get the ball out of his hands quickly. He held on to the ball way too much against Georgia Tech. So I just want to see this offense find a rhythm.
Definitely, it seems like the early read is, you would think the fan base views a Delaware game as a get right kind of situation to find that rhythm and find a chance for a different passer in Julian Lewis to get a chance as well. And I think we heard earlier today, as we record on a Tuesday of game week, Coach Prime mentioning that you should expect to see Julian Lewis play. He didn't mean start, but expect to see him play at quarterback as well. So how much do you think, Colorado's point of view is looking forward to that aspect of it as well, to most likely have the opportunity to kind of work in different passers and throw some different looks at Delaware? We don't know even how early or late in the game.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how much Lewis plays. I do expect him to play in this game. I think regardless, you see him play throughout the majority of the second half, like regardless of what the score is. You want to see what you got in him. I think Caden Salter, granted, it was his first Power 4 game. I'm a little bit more patient. I put more of the blame on Pat Shurmur doing Pat Shurmur things with that offense last week. But if Julian Lewis comes out and plays well, that could create an interesting conversation when we start conference play next week. A week from Friday against Houston, and then we finish out non-conference play week 4 against Wyoming. If Julian Lewis is looking like the better guy, I think we go with him. But I'm not out on Caden Salter again. He had almost 4,000 all-purpose yards a couple of years ago at Liberty. I think he just needs to settle in. But, Julian Lewis, he's got these Taco Bell deals. It's not like he's coming here to Colorado to play for free, right? So we're paying him some big bucks, and I think we're all very anxious to see what he can do. So, that's something that I'm expecting. I do kind of view this game as one that Colorado should handle convincingly. But again, with it being such a new team, many new pieces, who knows kind of how this game, there's always a fighting chance for the Blue Hens. I'll say that. And while our games last year against like Colorado State was an opportunity for us to kind of get right going into conference play before we face Baylor, it's going to be important that Colorado doesn't overlook the fact that Delaware is kind of a lower level now, I guess, G5 school. We see upsets pretty much every week. So it's going to be important for us to come out with that fire and not take our opponent lightly.
Do you have an idea of how you could relay to some laymen over here on this side of the college football world, relay a sense of Colorado's play style on both sides of the ball? Even as we talk about personnel changing so much, or I say so much, the headlining personnel definitely is different, like we talked about, but is the play style really carrying over pretty consistently from last year into this year? Any tweaks or anything that's consistent year to year that you would want to point out?
I think the big thing that you'll see with this team is speed, and I think we've built on that from the last couple of years as well. One change that you'll see, too, is that the field looks amazing. We finally got rid of that natural grass, and because it was in bad condition as the season went on, you got dirt patches we're kicking field goals out of and all that. We got brand new state-of-the-art turf, which is great, and that will continue to highlight the strength of this team, which is its speed on both offense and defense. So you'll see the linebackers, Martavius French, 37. You'll see Reggie Hughes, number 50. Sean Myers, I want to say he's number 40. These guys can fly from the linebacker position. Our secondary as well has tremendous speed. But really, one of the things you'll have to worry about is coming off the edge. I think that's our strongest position group throughout the entire team has been our edge group, led by 53 Arden Walker, Samuel Okunloa, 93, and a few other guys like Keaton Wade, 27. So, I expect us to cause havoc in the backfield, no doubt about it. And then on offense, we probably have 5 or 6 guys capable of taking it to the house from any part of the field at wide receivers. So you'll see Omari Miller, number 4, Draylon Miller, number 6. He's another guy to watch out for. Sincere Brown, number 9. And then lastly, true freshman, Quentin Gibson, number 15. He's a small guy, kind of like Antonio Brown or maybe Deshaun Jackson-like in some ways, but he can take it to the house from anywhere. And like I mentioned earlier, number 20, DeKalen Taylor, he goes by the nickname Trackhawk. He's a guy that can take it to the house from any part of the field, along with Caden Salter, our starting quarterback. So we are predicated on speed. That is where we're dangerous, is in the open field, in the return game as well. And then lastly, I do want to say our interior defense, although we had problems with Georgia Tech giving up a few big runs there, overall, I was pleased with what the line did, the interior line did. Jaheim Otis, I'm trying to remember his number. I think it's number 90. You'll see Amari McNeil, number 88, who I think is our best interior defender. But those guys are going to be creating havoc up front. And one of the things I want to see is that we're not allowing any of these big runs. We might be good at stopping the run 80% of the time, but if we're giving up these 30, 45-yard runs, man, what's the point, man? We let up 320 yards on the ground last week. It was pathetic, and I want to see a better performance this week against the Blue Hens in that regard. But we're a team with speed, man. All that to say, it'll be interesting to see how Delaware matches up with this problem. Hopefully, we're giving you guys with our speed.
Yeah, it sounds like Big 12 football to me. It sounds like what you're describing and what I've watched and got to see against Georgia Tech. No, that lines right up. Running low on our segment here. It flies right by here. We appreciate you taking your time, and we're not done quite yet, though. We're not done quite yet. Yeah. I know we have a number of listeners, viewers, Delaware fans, new Delaware football fans, maybe people getting more engaged with the FBS jump. They're making their way out to Boulder, and they're experiencing it for the first time, as will I. I'm looking forward to it. My first time ever actually spending extended time in the state of Colorado and not just laying over in Denver, which I did do during the FCS playoffs a couple years ago. So excited to actually go see Colorado. Traditions outside of Ralphie, we know Ralphie's in a transition right now. It's just tough luck for all the visitors who'd love to see that tradition. Any other Folsom traditions and pregame stops or local recommendations, kind of the whole 9 yards, you can run away with it here for getting a sense of visiting Boulder.
Well, I mean, you're in Delaware, right? So, marijuana is legal over there just as it is in Colorado. So one thing I will suggest, there are plenty of dispensaries around. You don't need to go to the ones on Pearl Street, downtown Boulder. Those ones, man, they're a little overpriced. It's all the same stuff. And you will smell plenty of it, especially in the second half there at Folsom. If you're coming in from Denver, maybe spending a day there, one thing that I would encourage people to check out is Meow Wolf, an experiential art museum. You could spend hours in there.
Wow, okay.
And it is incredible. Check out Meow Wolf. I love that. If you're going to get some food, some of my favorite spots, downtown Boulder is Avanti. They also have a rooftop bar. So it's kind of like they got all sorts of different little restaurants in there, which is nice. And you can kind of seat yourself all throughout the building, but you get a beautiful view of the mountains and the Flatirons there. Definitely check out Avanti. Also, for breakfast or brunch, check out The Buff. It's like one of my favorite places to get breakfast in Boulder. And of course, probably our flagship brewery. There's a handful of breweries around there, but Avery Brewing Company is my favorite and probably largest brewery out there in Boulder. When it comes to the hikes, you can't go wrong with Chautauqua Park. just near campus, and Mount Sanitas. That'll probably take you a few hours going up and down, but beautiful view of all of Boulder once you get up there. So a lot to do. Hopefully the weather's going to be fantastic. And just pace yourself with the altitude. I can't tell you how many times I brought friends over that fly in that want to hike Mount Sanitas, and they got to tap out like halfway through.
That's a good point. So don't bite off more than we can chew all at once, is what you're saying.
Stay hydrated. Just chill that first day, man.
Somebody was telling me, I think it was Bryce, one of our co-hosts here at Feathers and Field Goals, it takes maybe 2 or 3 days and then it might hit the worst, is when you've actually been out there a while and it starts catching up to you. I don't know if it's that or if it's right away, or I don't know what it's going to feel like. I'll be there for a little under a week in total, actually, so I don't know what I'm going to be hit with.
Well, I would still say that first day or so, you can be a little sleepy. You might want to take a nap or something like that, but just stay hydrated, drink your electrolytes, all of that. Have fun. If you're going to be there a week, Estes Park in Rocky Mountain National Park is maybe 45 minutes away or so not too far away. There's plenty of fun to be had, and Colorado fans will love seeing you there. It's a great place to go to a road game. Folsom Field, I feel like, is iconic, and you'll see our new scoreboard. You won't see Ralphie, but it'll be a beautiful scene there with the mountains, and the new turf, I think, just looks fantastic.
Well, it's big because I know local fan bases, any hometown fan base, it's the little things. It's the new features in the stadium. It's the playing surface is a big thing. I mean, those are all things that if they're new, Delaware wouldn't maybe know about that. We want to appreciate that and see that in these places. So thanks for pointing that out as well. And thanks, David, for giving us the lowdown. It flew right by. I look forward to doing these other versions of this across the season, but I appreciate you hanging with and setting up with me for my first time running this part of the program. So thank you so much again. And want to make sure folks can find you, share about, where you're most frequently posting and your schedule and that kind of thing.
Yeah, again, thank you so much for having me on, Daniel. I think you did a fantastic job, and best of luck to the Blue Hens the rest of the year. And again, congratulations on making it to the FBS level. It's a big deal. So you can follow along with me at David Talks Buffs on YouTube, on Twitter. If you are an NFL fan, Joe Flacco's career didn't go here so well, but if you want to follow the Broncos, I do have I'm one subscriber away from 3,000 on David Talks Broncos. So go follow me over there as well for NFL takes, but really appreciate you having me on, Daniel. This is fantastic.
Well, thank you so much. I know we look forward to joining over your direction coming up as well. So check out David's content when we go over and talk some more Blue Hens over on David's side of things. Until then, the Feathers and Field Goals podcast continuing after this.